I have got the yummiest recipe to share with you guys today. This is a recipe that's been in my family forever. My mom has been making this since I was a kid, and it's this wonderful new potato recipe with sour cream and lots of sea salt and fresh cracked pepper and dill, yummy fresh dill. So you guys are gonna like it because it's quick and a wonderful side. And I just want to share one of the reasons I love having the bookshelves so close to the kitchen. We designed our house in this way because I find the cookbook so inspiring. Anytime I'm trying to think up a recipe, or I just want to get inspired in any way to, you know, play around in the kitchen a little bit. But one of the things I do with the bookshelves, besides the fact that they're loaded up with cookbooks, is I love vignetting in them. So I will put little things in here, you know, a little wonderful cup with spoons, or, you know, pictures and things, you know, an old menu, just all kinds of little wonderfulness. And I love doing this because then when I'm hunting around for a book, I feel like I'm in this old yummy library, and anytime somebody sends me a birthday card or something, I'll always tuck it in between those. I got that from my mom. She always has birthday cards and things shoved in her book. So anyway, just a little decorating snapshot, and let's get this yummy recipe going because it's a snap and wonderful. So I've got my pot of water boiling, and I'm just gonna steam these new potatoes and go get my potatoes and let the dogs out. This is the perfect side for us, these new potatoes with dill and sour cream. And I'm just gonna steam these for a little bit, and I've got in the oven what we love to do with this. I mean, this is great with anything, of course, but it's so good. I have a salmon in the oven on a plank, and I don't know if you guys do salmon like that, but it's so great with this. It's also wonderful like with a roast chicken, just fabulous. But this will become a staple in your house like it is in ours for sure. So, you know, I love inviting you into my pantry. One of the things I wanted to show you guys, and just something to think about as you're considering stocking your pantry or your cupboards or however you organize your kitchen and everything, is bowls. I just don't think a home cook can ever have enough bowls. And so by that, I mean just like, you know, a nice mix of different sizes. Even though I design dinnerware as part of my living, I'm always finding that I need more bowls. So, you know, I try to keep in stock, you know, really big bowls like this. For instance, they're great for mixing. And I love colorful bowls. That's why we design all these, you know, beautiful, colorful bowls of different sizes. Really big, wide bowls. I love having lower, open bowls like this because they're very pretty to, you know, put little, you know, if I'm doing fresh green beans or something, these kind of bowls are so wonderful. I love different textures, you know, smaller horn bowls and things like that I think are really cool too. I even love copper too. It's one of my favorite things. And even though I use this to cook with, I also use it to serve in as well. I just think it's so pretty. And then I love little old bowls. You know, these are my grandmother's, but I use these all the time. You know, I serve olives in them, or, you know, whatever it is, they're just great, and I can throw them right in the fridge. So, you know, think about that as you're giving gifts to people, wedding gifts or whatever. Oh, I just think bowls are the greatest. I even love having metal bowls, and actually this is the one I am going to grab for my potatoes. My potatoes are beautifully done. I love steaming potatoes. I don't know if you guys normally boil your potatoes or you steam them, but new potatoes are so perfect for steaming. As a matter of fact, this is a good little tidbit. I'm one of those people who loves factoids. New potatoes are actually new potatoes. They're like baby potatoes. If you didn't know that, you might be thinking that they're their own little like dog breed of potatoes. And they're not. They're actually all different kinds of potatoes, Yukons, Idaho, every kind of potato has a new potato, and they're just the little baby version of potatoes. Sometimes they have red skin like this, sometimes they have yellow skin, brown skin, but what's great about them is that they haven't created all their starchiness yet. So, you know, when potatoes get all that starch, they're good for mashing and baking and all that kind of stuff, but these are great for steaming and boiling, and they're sweet and wonderful. So this is so super quickie. And that is why I love this recipe, because it's like one of those totally zippy recipes that you can do anytime. Sour cream, my big bunch of dill. Now, of course, my darlings, if it's summer and you are a gardener, or even if you're not a gardener, by all means, certainly consider growing some herbs, because there is nothing better than wonderful herbs, especially dill. It's so easy to grow and it's so beautiful, and it like becomes a volunteer all over your garden. It's just like the greatest herb. And it keeps coming back. Well, if you live somewhere other than Wisconsin, it probably comes back for you anyway. I always think it's like a miracle when anything comes back here, because you know, it's, you get halfway through winter and you're like, oh, I wonder what's gonna make it through this year. So anyway, things actually can make it through here. I've got to get my knife. So as far as the dill goes, I love picking it fresh from my garden, but since the garden is not looking so fresh right now, all I do is I dry it off nicely. You know, I get a few shakes, and then I just cut it off, and I basically end up tearing it into my potatoes. And it's, you know, the great thing about dill is that it's so fresh and tasty and fragrant. What you just want to avoid really with dill are, you know, all the stems and everything like that, you know, because that part is just not quite as pretty. So I just give my dill, you know, a quick chop once I've cut it off of its bunch. And, you know, in this case, this simple recipe, you know, the more dill, the merrier. So if you've got like a couple of huge handfuls, by all means, use that much dill, because you are not going to go wrong by throwing a bunch of it in there. And then, as far as the sour cream goes, use whatever version of sour cream you like. I tend to like the... you know, I tend not to buy a lot of low-fat stuff, because I figure I just love the mix. But it's about a cup of sour cream in there. And then I throw the dill in, which is gorgeous. Could it get more simple than this? And then, now this recipe, these potatoes really love salt. So I definitely salt them up nicely. And you will find that with the sour cream and the dill and everything, oh, it makes them just so fantastic. You know, this is going to become like your all-time staple recipe. I think I even need just a tiny bit more sour cream, because, you know, you can't quite have enough sour cream in there. And then this is it, guys. You know, you just mix it all up. Make sure all the potatoes are just nicely coated and everything has lots of dill on it. You can make this, you know, way before you're going to serve it and let it sit. It's nice that the potatoes are a little bit warm right now, but this recipe is absolutely fantastic when it's cold as well. And, you know, this is another one of those things, if you have a lot of leftovers, see, even a tiny bit more salt. You have a lot of leftovers, you can serve it the next day, turn it into something else. You know what? Chop some celery into it, throw some eggs in with it, and you will have yourself yet another beautiful, versatile recipe that you are going to be sharing with all of your friends and family.